So the question we wanted to answer is, how do we organize for changing opportunities for discipleship? How do we organize our mid-councils to be responsive to the Spirit? And our answer is basically this. If we can stimulate creative collaboration within and among presbyteries, whose focus is to strengthen the vitality of missional congregations in a post-Christendom world, then we'll have all the structure we need in order to see the church begin to live faithfully with Jesus Christ. Let me give you two definitions, because this is where I lose people. First of all, post-Christendom world. Most all of us know what this means, right? Christendom is when Christianity was the dominant value of the whole culture. One of my friends on the commission is at the end of his career. He's been a pastor in the Deep South. He said to me, look, 40 years ago, I never worried about church growth or church attendance. I never worried about keeping track of numbers or who was there or who wasn't there. Because 40 years ago, when I started in ministry, if a man missed church on Sunday, his boss asked him about it on Monday. That's Christendom. That's when all the structures of society supported the church. And we all know, everything we heard from John this morning, everything you've heard from Jim in the statistics, everything that most of us have studied, everything that most of us know in our churches, is that day is beyond us. That the old structures that we have need to become more missionary and less institutional. That our structures need to be more and more about forming churches who see themselves as the missional outpost of a particular area. Which leads to the definition of missional congregations. What missional basically means is the central organizing principle of a church is the personal and communal participation in the mission of God in Jesus Christ. It comes right in our book of order. We have language that says exactly the same thing. It says that the basic locus of mission is the congregation. The congregation is the missionary in a particular environment. And it is the role of the presbyteries to be covenant communities of missional congregations. That presbyteries are when our congregations covenant together in mutual accountability and support, mutual oversight. And they exist for the purpose of seeing these congregations be the mission outpost of its local area. A missional denomination, a missional PCUSA, would again see that every structure serves those congregations. Now, if you listen to friends talk about our report, they'll say it's a congregationalist report. And I would say it's the furthest thing from it. Congregationalism says that the government and decisions are made in the congregations. We Presbyterians say that the mission is in the congregations, but the congregation is insufficient because it must be in relationship to other congregations. And the covenant relationships we make with other congregations is what it means for us to be presbyteries together. G 3.0101. The councils of the church exist to help congregations and the church as a whole be more faithful participants in the mission of Christ. Right out of our Constitution, right out of our Book of Order, right out of our new form of government, and what we believe is that our report helps this to happen. So here's what we've decided to do. We've said that we want to have flat, flexible, and faithful. We've made several recommendations. The heart of them is found in two predominantly, but let me explain them to you this way. Flat, we repurpose synods. We'll talk about that. Synods will no longer, in our structure, be ecclesiastical bodies. They will be cross-presbytery partnerships. Flexible. We want to suggest a season where we can create provisional presbyteries, where presbyteries can create new experimental presbyteries built around missional objectives. Faithful. We want this to be a season of reflective experiment. There's a season here where we're going to try to do as much experimentation as possible, and there's an end date where the church can go back and examine and make sure that it's working the way we want it to. We've also called for the Office of the General Assembly and for the General Assembly Mission Council to be examined in light of how they serve congregations. And we've called for a special task force to examine again our commitment to racial ethnic ministry and how racial ethnic ministry and our commitment to that historically would continue without the role of the synods.